What's up everyone, it's your girl Shay here and I'm back with another video for you guys. And as you can tell by the title, it's time for another Motivational Monday video. And this time I chose the topic of heartache or heartbreak or learning from heartbreak. And no, I'm not currently heartbroken, so don't worry, I'm perfectly fine. My relationship is currently perfectly fine. But I have gone through a heartbreak before, and heartbreaks suck. But I do feel that you can learn from a heartbreak. You can either, learn what it is that you want in the end or want in your next relationship through a heartbreak and learn what went wrong in your previous relationship, whether it's something that you did wrong or your ex significant other. Or you cannot learn from that heartbreak and just continue to do the same thing over and over again and get into another toxic relationship, or continue to do the same things that you've already done before and you didn't get a great outcome. And I feel like for this topic, I had to choose two different characters that had two different outcomes due to their heartbreak. One of which is Yukari from Paradise Kiss and Nana Komatsu from the anime Nana. Now, both these girls went through heartbreak, and both these girls, to me, learned from their heartbreak in different ways or didn't learn from their heartbreak. So the first character I want to talk about is Nana Komatsu. So when you first meet Nana in the anime Nana, she's already in a relationship and is meeting up with her boyfriend in Tokyo. And through her self-prophesizing, she finds out her boyfriend is cheating on her with another girl, and they end up actually breaking up. She's heartbroken and she ends up moving in with the other Nana in the anime. Now, she always talks about the other relationships that she's been in previously, with a lot of them being through older men. And then you see her get into a relationship with another guy, and they have kind of an on-off relationship kind of a thing, but it's kind of toxic. But getting back into heartbreak, she was very heartbroken about her previous relationship that she had with her boyfriend that she followed to Tokyo. But the problem was, to me at least, Nana did not actually learn from this heartbreak. She still went through issues with her next boyfriends that she basically had issues with, and she didn't, not saying that all heartbreaks have to lead to you becoming a stronger individual, but she didn't learn what she did wrong and then ended up in another toxic relationship after the other guy that she ended up talking to. She ended up getting into other, kind of toxic-ish relationships, or with guys that her friends didn't particularly like. And that's the guy that she basically ends up marrying. And sorry not to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen Nana, but there you go. Sorry I spoiled it for you guys. But on the other hand, you have the character Yukari from Paradise Kiss. So Yukari has a relationship with George, whom is kind of like a player type. He always jokes about having mistresses when he is dating Yukari, but him and Yukari end things very differently. George and Yukari end up ending things not because of the fact that one of them cheated or one of them had feelings for somebody else. They end up ending things because their careers were going two very different ways. Yukari was going to keep her in Tokyo for her to continue to be a model, and I believe George's was going to lead him to the United States. So they decided to basically end things, and of course Yukari was very heartbroken about this. But it seemed by the ending of the whole entire anime, when you kind of catch up with Yukari when she's older, she kind of learned from it. Her and George, while they no longer were together, still pretty much remained friends. And Yukari ended up marrying a completely different guy. But she seemed, at least to me, to kind of have learned from it, or learned from her heartbreak with George, and she seems to be with a pretty good guy. Now, granted, in both of these animes, you don't really see them go through the throes of heartbreak that so many of us have probably gone through. And I can honestly say, for me, I used to think heartbreak was a myth. I thought heartbreak was something that people just talk about but doesn't really happen. Like, I've dealt with guys that I talked to before, and then things just don't work out. And yeah, I might be sad for a little bit because, I got my hopes up again, but then things just ended and I didn't care anymore after a while. But I finally did end up heartbroken. I ended up getting my heart broken from a guy that I actually thought things were going to continue great with, and that didn't happen. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was just truly hurt, and I was crying a lot. I lost a lot of weight because of the fact that I wasn't really eating, because every time I would eat, I would just get super nauseous. And I couldn't sleep, so I would wake up after like 2 or 3 hours of sleep and then be up for the rest of the night. That's when I knew heartbreak was real. But through that heartbreak, I learned a lot about myself. I learned what I didn't want from my next relationship. I learned what I did want from the next guy that I wanted to date. I also learned what I did wrong in previous relationships and vowed not to do it again because I knew that I didn't want the same outcome that I had gotten previously. And by me choosing these two characters, I felt like they perfectly represented what path you can take with heartbreak, you know? And I know some people are going to feel like maybe these weren't the right characters to choose, which is correct. But honestly, it was very hard to choose characters to talk about heartbreak with because I felt heartbreak in anime isn't that greatly represented. You know, like you see some girls get torn up about it, but you don't see like the true emotional toll that heartbreak takes on you, both as a male and a female. Guys get heartbroken too. But I just feel like in anime this isn't portrayed as much, especially the learning aspects of what can happen after that heartbreak. But I felt with Nana Komatsu and also with Yukari, they kind of represented the two paths that someone can go on after a heartbreak kind of happens. Nana kind of like continuing to date guys that may not be that great for her, but continuing on kind of a toxic path relationships possibly. It's hard to say with Nana because you don't get into a lot of detail with her relationships. And then you also have Yukari on the other side that seemed to learn from her past when it came to George and ended up with a pretty great guy. But once again, we don't see the toll that both these characters went through after their heartbreak, nor in Yukari's case do we see how her dating may have changed with the guy that she ultimately ends up marrying. But it seemed to probably have been a good dating style, I guess, because they did end up marrying. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. But I also do want to completely stress that dating is not like a cookie cutter formula. Dating, how one person dates is not going to be the same way that another person dates, and the outcome that one person gets from how they date is completely different from how somebody else dates. But overall, this was about heartbreak. And everyone goes through heartbreak differently. So don't take these two characters as like, this is what happens with heartbreak or learning from heartbreak. That's literally not what happens. And sometimes you have to get your heart broken multiple times before you actually like learn from it or figure out what went wrong or figure out what you need to change so that hopefully this heartbreak doesn't happen again. But a lot of times heartbreak is inevitable. You're going to get your heart broken anytime you fall in love with somebody. But that's kind of one of the great things about falling in love. Falling in love happens all of a sudden, and yes, falling in love gives us two different outcomes. It either ends or it continues. And a lot of times if it ends, you gotta pick yourself back up and continue on going. And a lot of times it continues and it becomes a very beautiful thing. Now, my question for you guys is, have you ever had your heart broken? And did you learn from it? Or did you kind of like continue on the same path? Or, you know, how did you deal with heartbreak is probably a better question to ask because heartbreak happens all the time. Also, I do want to once again stress that I am sincerely sorry, or I don't mean to make heartbreak a lesson because I don't feel like it's always a lesson, but I feel like it can be a lesson depending on how you take your heartbreak. That's kind of what I mean. But that is my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on this topic. I know this is probably not the best topic, I guess, or the most interesting topic. Also, please, of course, leave suggestions down below for any future Monday motivational topics that you guys would like me to talk about, or what anime you would like me to try and incorporate into a motivational Monday. Once again, this is probably based on whether or not I've seen this anime or have read the manga, because a lot of these are based off of shows that I've already seen before or characters that I kind of know a little bit more about. Also, I will leave links down below to all my social media accounts, of course, Instagram, my Twitter, and my blog as well. And of course, please, you guys, please give the video a thumbs up. Please comment down below if you want to. And of course, please share this video also. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I come out with new videos every like 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. So I try and come out with videos pretty frequently. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Like I always tell you guys, stay positive and be nerdy. All right, you guys.